we all believe is our freedom, our right to freedom. Woo! And and anyway, I've got something to read from Simon because you probably know it was so short notice that come in a bit close. Come close, guys. Sorry. Why don't we have repeaters? Have a wave. Sound wave. Is I'll do it. Please do it. Just shout. Right, where am I? So that's the whole thing. Okay.
Have you guys got a mic and a speaker?
We're not allowed a microphone. We're not allowed to have our voices heard. No, we're not. Not that they can hear me. There are now 7,221 pledges of support to Simon Dolan's Keep Britain Free movement. Here is a message from Simon, who can't be here today, but will join us on our next gathering. How do you feel about being told where you can go, who you can see, and what you can do?
Fucking bollocks. Bollocks.
This country has a proud history of fighting for freedom, yet the government has used lockdown to strip away your liberties. Every aspect of our lives is now controlled by draconian rules and regulations. Heil Hitler! We have been told how many friends we can have, whose houses we can visit, where we can travel, and as you will find out later, even what we can think. Heil Johnson! There was a time we were told who we could have sex with.
Yes.
Our children cannot return to school normally. Some businesses remain shut for months. Churches, mosques and temples were simply locked up. Collective acts of worship remain banned. If we go shopping, we are told to follow arrows on the ground, expecting to have someone fire a laser at our forehead. Some want personal information, and next we will be ostracised if we have anxiety over a mask, or choose body autonomy and refuse the mask. We are told we can now go to pubs and restaurants, but only if we give up other freedoms, such as the freedom to privacy. Many other institutions remain closed to normal enjoyment. Gyms, cinemas, theatres and beauty salons.
Shame on us for going along
We
with
cannot take a foreign holiday unless we spend 2 weeks in quarantine when we get back, which is relaxed in some countries, but not all. And once again, all choices are made on a political basis and not health.
So cute. The doggy just chilling.
These measures have devastated and continue to devastate our economy, our health and society as we've known it.
Yep.
They will ruin lives for generations. Your children, your grandchildren.
Yep.
Millions of people are already out of work. Left to their own devices, politicians seek to control us. Keep Britain Free is a new movement representing the millions of people who want to think for themselves.
Yes.
And take responsibility.
Yes! Yes! Give me freedom or give me death.
We are a group of independent, critical thinkers who seek to influence politicians come polling day. We stand for freedom of speech, of choice, of thought. We champion life, liberty and the pursuit of happiness. A government exists only to protect its citizens. We need to get back to this simple premise and judge them on this. By coordinating our efforts, we can ensure that our voice is heard at the heart of government and bring about real change. Please help us to keep Britain free.
Yes!
I will shout now. Okay, so many of you know the reason why we're here today is because they decided to mandate the wearing of masks in shops, but it doesn't make any sense. And most of us here have already done extensive research. We've looked at all of the science. We've paid attention to everything our government scientists said for months. We've looked at what every mask maker, manufacturer has said about the prevention of spread and its lack of effectiveness with a mask.
Yes.
So it's not actually protecting anyone. Someone has suggested it might be a 3% possible protection. But what are we protecting each other from anyway when it's done this?
Yep.
And it's practically left the building. We also, most of us here, if we've done our research, we know that coronaviruses do what this one is doing right now. It has gone to bed, but it's never going to leave because it's a bloody virus. So we know it's going to recycle, it's going to come back round like every
It's a
other
cold.
coronavirus.
Bring it on! It's a
Yes.
bloody virus!
We've got immune system.
We could not live without viruses.
No.
So we know that actually the best asset we have collectively as humans is
It's our body
immune
soap.
system. We know how that works. And again, many of us here have done our own extensive research, even if it's not our field of expertise. I started researching in February. I've never looked at viruses before, but I wanted to understand what was going on. That's where it began. What happened then with the masks and the trigger for why I sent that tweet out and why it went viral is because it was the last straw. It was a tipping point. It was the I don't understand now what your reasons are for doing what you're doing, except to say that you are continuing to destroy all of our freedom, our choices, and our lives in so many ways. Now, some of you also will have studied some of the SAGE documentation, so you know what the government are doing, how they're using the media, forgive me, to send a specific message. They're using not mind control, it's called
Behavioural.
sciences,
Behavioural psychology, yeah.
Okay.
The nudge unit.
And we've got all of those papers, we've got all of that.
That shit is real, you know.
Many of us have read it, but the general public, the rest of the general public, they don't know that this is being done on purpose, very deliberately. They're using, I'm just going to check my notes because I want to make sure let's just remember Professor Whitty did repeatedly say you don't need to wear a mask, they don't work. And Dr. Jenny Harries, also the science, one of the science experts, has also said we will not be waiting for a vaccine to get out of this situation, because that's very dangerous. And the last time we did that, we had a 60% fatality rate. We will not be doing
pandemic.
that. That's what
The
she
swine
said.
flu jab.
Which obviously is another thing that's completely reneged on, and we know that's in the wind.
If anyone else has got their phone notes to go live, because I've got massive.
Oh, I don't even know how to do that.
There are psychologists here, and those psychologists have done the same sort of research as I have. They are just as aware that there is, within the SAGE documentation, there's an area called coercion. And they talk about seatbelt wearing. They're trying to encourage all of the politicians and then the media to follow this theme.
Shout, Leah.
Oh, George, sorry.
We are not allowed to have a megaphone or a microphone. If
No.
anyone is watching on Facebook Live, we
What?
have been banned from having a microphone.
Oh my God! We've lost our speech. So what's happened in the SAGE documentation under coercion is they've talked about the fact that it's very important to pick one part of of the public against the other, that part of the public is going to make sure this part of the public behave according to their rules, what they want to implement. Yes, divide and conquer. It's very typical propaganda.
Old games.
Everybody can see it, plain as day, and it's in their documentation. So it's not something we're making up, it's not a conspiracy theory. And how many of our conspiracy theories have been proven true?
Yeah. Conspiracy facts.
We also don't think it. So what the government did say, what the government did say that I find as a mental health practitioner deeply, deeply concerning, having witnessed masses of people become traumatised, there's a whole new kind of PTSD that we're all going to have to deal with for generation after generation after generation. And the children are being traumatised. Children. And the government said in their documentation, we've got to measure the risk. We've got to be careful how we do this, not to push it too far. Well then, why is it yesterday a child is being attacked and abused on a bus because she's not wearing a mask because she suffers anxiety and she went home and self-harmed? That's disgusting, and she felt suicidal, that this is the life she's living right now. And we know our children are at risk from suicide because of what's going on. We know this.
They want us to wear badges.
There is no doubt that the harms that are happening to all of our children, all of our society, our economy, I mean, the list is endless. We could talk about so many different things today. But the NSPCC have reported a 36% rise in reports of abuse. And there's another 10% that go direct to the service providers. And they've had all their safeguarding removed.
Gone.
The children have
ISS
no
45.
safeguarding. They are not being protected. We are not protecting our children. We are not protecting our elderly. We are not protecting bloody anybody right now.
No do
and
not
a sodding
resuscitate,
mask
no
is
care
definitely
visits,
not
nothing.
going to do
No
anything
doctor's visits.
to make a difference. Now, I'm going to hand you over.
People with disabilities and autism, they've been put on do not resuscitate.
Yeah, if you're over the back, do you want to come maybe round here a bit?
At the front here, if you can't hear. Come on the
Come a bit closer around this side. Jump the fence. Nigel Jacklin is our first guest speaker.
He's on a shout bit.
Nigel is a father, a statistician and a media researcher. He has worked with clients such as the FT, the BMJ and in the UK and over 30 countries worldwide. And he has a new venture, People's Portal. A point to mention is that his wife is medically trained
Microbiologist.
So her understanding of a lot of the things that are being talked about is one of the reasons why this couple, who are not activists, who don't do any of this sort of thing, have decided they can't take it anymore and they want to be here today.
Yes.
Bravo!
Bravo!
Excuse me, doctors who talk about it are losing their lives.
They are losing their jobs.
You have to mention that. There are only few who have the strength to stand up.
Dr. Vernon Coleman. Dr. Vernon Coleman, YouTube. Amazing. Dr. Vernon Coleman. Thank you, sir.
So, like Leah, I started looking at the evidence. Is that better?
Yes.
I'm a statistician, and like Leah, I started looking at the medical evidence and the numbers back in February, and I found it disconcerting. Statisticians' jobs is to basically take a step back and be neutral. So I'm here as a neutral observer.
Hold it closer to your mouth.
I've looked at the evidence, and basically what I'm trying to figure out is COVID a really bad problem, or is something else going on?
There is no COVID. No Coke's postulates, no purification of the virus.
First point, this is an international phenomenon. The politicians here are deciding things not just in a domestic context, but in an international context. Second point, whilst there's a lot of information, we actually feel very uninformed.
Shame on you! Shame! Shame on you! Shame! Shame on you!
A number of excess deaths in recent years. In all recent years, there have been excess deaths. So
Let me just quickly say something. Let me go there. Let me go there.
You don't need these.
I hope he's going to take his clothes off because that's about the only use there.
I won't speak until you're quiet.
Charming.
Right. Welcome to the Speaker's Corner. Well, this is very important. It's 150 years of freedom of speech here. Yeah? We've got to be mindful though, this is a royal park.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have to be mindful of the traditions of Speaker's Corner. Yes, there's been protests and demonstrations with other groups and organisations using loud hailers and sound systems. Unfortunately, people are using these, it's undermining what the Speaker's Corner is all about. If I allow people to use megaphones, that means I've got to allow everybody over there with megaphones and sound systems. Right?
Always so slippery with their words, they are. This is, it's a loud speech because they allow it to happen when they choose to, when it's politically expedient.
No heckling! If you want to use a sound system, go over to Marble Arch on the large concourse area. You can use the biggest sound system if you want. But in here,
Oh, good to know that.
we are fighting hard.
Bringing up the sound system.
But you've got to work with us to keep that tradition.
Do you see that massive one that's happening in Bath, darling?
I don't know, I'm going to have a quick look.
In Bath, like, you know.
Unfortunately, you've got a great crowd here. It'd be nice to see you down here every Sunday. But you've got to get on your soapbox and you've got to shout. Okay? And that's what it's about. Shout. All right? Have a good day.
Everybody, go on your phone to my Facebook Live to listen to him if you have it. I'm streaming it. Well done.
Live on Facebook.
Claire Wills Harrison.
Oh yeah, she's the solicitor's firm lady. She's the solicitor's firm lady. I just need some water. Sorry.
The important number to look at is the number of excess deaths. How many people have died more than normal? So more people have died than normal, but when I looked at the statistics, that's happened in all of the previous years. So it can't be that every year more people die than normal. There must be something wrong